So I just finished listening to Lecrae's podcast with Tripoli and Tadashi. I was very excited when I saw them. Oh my, I was so excited. But they are on the podcast, on Lecrae's podcast, The Deep End, and something that they talked about in the middle was about being clear on the essentials, specifically as a Christian. They talked about how you can miss the truth because you can miss the truth of something because you don't prefer the source. Whether it's a denomination, you can, you know, for like I think of like when I was looking for a church when I first got to Indy. I my sole purpose I was like if the worship ain't what I want it to be, then I'm not going. And I didn't. I did that year that I did that. I didn't find a church in Indy, so I ended up like driving an hour to Bloomington every Sunday to go to like my church that I went to in college, City Church. Shout out City Church. But I missed out on I potentially could have missed out on a local community where I received the gospel every week because I didn't prefer the package that their singing came in, that their worship came in. Although it was worship to the person, to the same man that I worship. But because it wasn't it didn't it the sound or whatever wasn't my preference, I could have missed out on what God possibly had for me here, and and I have currently found a church in Indy, but it goes for a lot of things when there's a denomination that you don't mess with or you think is not not a brother and sister in Christ because they don't do something like your denomination does it doesn't sound like it does, y'all don't need to do all that. If that's not an issue of salvation, if that's not an issue of who we serve and why and why we believe God is who God is, it doesn't matter. Tadashi Legit, he mentioned what is it? No, I'm about to ramble, but you should watch it. The Deep End or Lecrae, and then Tadashi and Tripoli was on it. It was dope, and they like I really and it was they. I got a lot from that bit of that conversation, and a lot after a lot of what they talked about. But as Christians, as whether you been in this on this walk with God for a minute, if you are new to your relationship with Christ, if you are just getting to know who He is, don't let don't miss out on what God has for you because you don't prefer the package it came in, whether it's from a person of a race that you law like. I mean, yeah, like I know, like you might be a brother and sister in Christ, but like over there, if it's not coming from the race that you prefer come to, if it don't sound the same, if they don't use the same instruments, if they seem a little quieter, if they seem a little bit louder and more hype to you, if it's from a denomination that that they believe in what you believe, but like it just don't look like how you prefer it to look. If it's not an issue of salvation, don't that shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. So don't miss out on your blessing. Don't miss out on connecting with somebody. Don't miss on learning from somebody. Even in Job, like it could be someone younger than you, or someone older than you. Like if you you too old, or you from that generation. Like I'm not listening to what you got to say. You from that generation, or you from you younger than me. I've been in this too longer. You only been coming to church for like a couple weeks, whatever. Job, literally, that's like a big part of the book of Job. The Job is basically like Job talking, and then three of Job's friends who are, I would assume, like around his age, and they basically all was like talking out of the side of their neck for I don't know how many chapters, and then towards the end, a fourth friend pops in and he talks about how like, well, I've been silent because I know I'm the youngest. I let my elders speak. but I got something to say. Like, it was like on his heart. He like, I know y'all are older than me and y'all been doing this thing longer than me, but God gave me some wisdom, and I got to tell you this, Job. Like, this is my encouragement to you. And then he said what he said. And then after he spoke, that's when God came in afterwards, and God like basically addressed the ignorance of the first three friends, and also Job, because they was talking outside of their neck. But the younger one had something to say. And so even in that sense, whether it's age, race, denomination, whatever, experience, language, if the music is different, and I feel you, if it's like preference is okay, I feel like preference is okay to a certain degree. If you like there are, I know I can get the truth from either of these places, and I just feel comfortable over here, and I can easily digest the word because it's coming in the sense that speaks to my heart. I think that's fine. I think that's the, like, God blessed expression and worship and preaching and teaching to be diverse so that everyone can hear it. But you refuse to get if you refuse to learn, if you refuse to get teaching, if you refuse to get God's truth because you deem it not worthy because of the source, and the source is of God, but you just like, I'm good. Like, check yourself, pray and ask God to help you check yourself, to check your heart, to check your thoughts, so that you don't miss out on God's blessing on whatever God has for you, on whatever he has for you. There's so many things he could have for you in this world, and so don't miss out.